Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and the iPhone 17 series has been out for a couple months at this point, and there's been some software updates, some feature enhancements, and I wanted to help you get the most out of your iPhone 17, whether you're just picking up a new 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, or even an iPhone Air. So I thought I'd share some tips and tricks that also go along with some of the new software updates. Now, the first thing has to do with your camera and opening accidentally from the lock screen. This is something that a lot of people find annoying, where you can open up your camera just by sliding. You can now disable this within settings. If we go into our settings, go down to camera, scroll down to the bottom, you'll see there's a new option for lock screen swipe to open camera. It says swipe left on the lock screen to quickly access the camera. If we turn this off, lock the display, wake it back up, you can no longer accidentally open it, and you can only use either the shortcuts you have on your display, camera control, or an assigned action button. So this is something that's great. I typically turn it off now, as I don't need another way to accidentally open the camera. Now, we'll talk about the camera a little bit more in a moment, but the next thing has to do with a shortcut that you can use to access settings quickly. For example, I'm in music. If I bring down the control center, I have this app settings shortcut, and it's very convenient. It brings you right into the settings for whatever app you're in. So if I go back out, go into podcasts, again, swipe down on the control center, tap app settings, I go right into the settings for that specific app. It even works on third-party apps, such as Geekbench 6, for example. We'll go in, app settings, and we're in. Within Instagram, if we swipe down, go to app settings, it brings us right into the settings. So it's super convenient and something I would highly recommend if you haven't installed it already. And this works on anything that has shortcuts. So I'll link it in the description if you'd like to try it out for yourself. Now, introduced with the iPhone 16 series is camera control. Apple carried it across to the iPhone 17 models from the iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, and iPhone Air. And this particular button I find very helpful if you want to quickly open the camera. Press it once, it opens the camera. Press it again lightly. You've got some settings. For example, mine's set to zoom. You can just swipe as well, or double press to get additional options. So you can see I can swipe between maybe cameras or zoom itself. Now, you can fully customize this or just turn it off altogether. If we go into our settings, go down to camera, you'll see at the very top is camera control. Go into camera control, under launch camera, we can turn it off altogether if we don't want to use it. We can open third-party apps that actually support it, or you can have it open something such as the code scanner. So I'll leave it on camera, but again, customize it however it works best for you. We also have the option for single click or double click, require the screen to be on in order to use it, and then we have some customizations for the camera control itself. This is something you may want to go into if you're going to use it, where you can have it control things such as exposure, depth, styles, and tone. So if we turn on exposure and depth, swipe home, go into camera control, double press, you'll see that we have additional options now compared to what we had before. So again, we have exposure, depth, zoom, and cameras now. So again, you can customize this however it works best for you and reorder them as well. Press and hold and then reorder them. I typically just use zoom and cameras, but again, customize it for whatever works best for you. If we go back, you'll see we have additional options such as lock, focus, and exposure. You can also use visual intelligence, which is press and hold if you're using Apple Intelligence and it's supported in your country. And then you can search things such as maybe this phone here. You'll see it searches and recognizes it's an iPhone Air and shows you places you can read about it or buy one. In addition to that, we have accessibility options. So maybe you want to change the overall press force from lighter, default, or firmer to the actual click speed of double tapping with slow, slower, or double click speed for default. Whatever works best for you to help you get the most out of it. So I would recommend going through this, customizing it, or if you don't like it at all, just go ahead and turn it off. Now, sticking with the camera, I wanted to share a few different things on how I customize the camera for when I use it. First, we'll talk about photos, then we'll talk about video. If we scroll down in our camera settings, we have a new option for lens cleaning hints that Apple added with iOS 26. If you leave this enabled, if maybe you accidentally smudge your lens, it will let you know before you go to take a photo that you may want to clean your lens because you'll get a better photo that way. It works on the front-facing camera and the rear cameras as well. If they're smudged, it will recognize it and just let you know. So if you don't already have this enabled, I would recommend enabling it. In addition to this, if we scroll up, go under Formats, this is something I would recommend as well. You can change the overall camera capture from high efficiency to most compatible. I typically use high efficiency to save the overall space. And also under Photo Capture mode, I would recommend changing this to 24 megapixels. So you do have higher than that, but I would recommend bumping it up to the bigger setting. Also under Pro RAW and resolution control, if you want the absolute most out of your photos and you want to fully customize them, I would enable that. Again, go into Pro RAW, and then you can enable the best version, whether it's JPEG lossless, most compatible, or something else. Again, ProRes for video capture, that's something you could enable as well, but this takes up a ton of storage, so unless you know you're going to use it, I probably wouldn't enable that. In addition to that, there's a few things I enable for on-screen, such as the grid. It gives us the rule of thirds, and I'll show you that in a moment, along with the level, and then you can view it outside the frame or turn that off altogether, and then mirror the front camera. Again, under photo capture, we have different options for different lenses, and this is something I use all the time. I enable 35mm. I don't use 28 that much, but I leave it just in case I want to. So if we go into the camera, you'll see we have our rule of thirds, and that's these little grids here that show us how to line things up. It just makes it easier to take photos. The 35mm option is here. If you tap the 1x, tap it again, you get 35mm. So you've got 24, then you've got 28 and 35. So if you want to use those are the option I showed you before. And then also under here where we have HEIF or HEIF, if we go in here, this is the compression format. You'll see I don't have RAW selected as that takes up a huge amount of space, but if you want the absolute most out of your photos and you modify them a lot afterward and customize them or just color correct them, put it in RAW for the best quality. But I would bump it up to 48 megapixels for the very highest quality. So to save space, 24, I like 48, then you can punch into the photo afterwards and get the most out of it. Now, if we spin the camera around, there's a setting I wanted to share as well, and this is the one in the upper right. You'll see this little person with a frame around them. Tap on it, and we have the option for center stage. What this does is center you in the frame, so if we turn this on, we can auto-rotate or auto-zoom. If you have more than one person, it will zoom out and then try and capture more than one person. So I would recommend trying it out, and if you haven't already, enable it. If you don't like it, you can turn it off. Now, also regarding the video camera, if we go into settings, again, go to camera and then record video, there's a couple things I would enable here. For example, I would change it to 4K at the minimum, typically 4K 60, because you can slow it down after the fact. So if you want some slow motion footage, but it's not as big as files for 4K 120, but you can use whatever works best for you. If you want super slow motion, go to 4K 120 and then slow it down after the fact. If we scroll down, I would enable enhanced stabilization. I would turn off HDR if you don't want bright photos or videos rather. And then if we scroll down, you'll see where it says lock white balance. I would enable this. And the reason for this is it will keep the white or the color of the background the same throughout the entire video. So when you start, whatever white is or whatever it sees, it will keep it that color instead of maybe changing to a more yellow color as you bring in an iPhone, for example. So definitely something I would enable. So again, under formats at the bottom, you have Apple ProRes. If you want to use this and have it as an option, it will be there when you go into your settings under camera. So if we go to video, turn it around, then we go to our settings here, you'll see that we have log or HDR or off. And then, of course, we have resolution. So you can use all of these different features together. And if you use ProRes, try log. You'll probably know what that is, where you can have log footage and then customize it a little bit better after you take the video. But other than that, I would leave it how I have it for regular everyday filming. One final thing with video is we have this new option for dual recording. Turn this on and now you have yourself in the frame. So it's recording from the front camera and the rear camera. Just keep in mind that when you're recording with this, you actually can't split these clips after the fact. So you can't remove them. Maybe they'll add this in a future update, but basically we have the camera, we have our video in the background, but you can't split them apart in post. So they'll be always where they are here, whether it's in the bottom left or upper right or wherever you leave it. Now, not only did Apple add dual recording from the front and rear camera, but they added an open gate sensor to the front camera. So what that means is if we spin the camera around, we now have this button down here on the iPhone 17 models that we can record in landscape directly from the front-facing camera. Because we basically have a square sensor, we can record in portrait or landscape and record the entire thing. So if you want to vlog like this, you no longer have to hold it sideways. You can just hold it vertically and record the same thing. So this is a great option. Also, when you're in a video mode, so whether you're recording from the rear camera or the front-facing camera, there's one way you can get better audio if it's maybe noisy outside using your AirPods. So if you have AirPods Pro 3, for example, place one in your ear, wait for it to connect, Give it just a second there. Now we're connected. And now because we're in our video mode, we can scroll down in our control center, go to our camera controls, and you'll see our audio input with its levels. I'm already on voice isolation, but you could change it to standard, or you could change it back to your iPhone microphone. So this is a great way. Maybe you're out on the street recording, it's very noisy, you've got a lot of cars going by. You can really isolate this with a couple different options here using your AirPods and voice isolation. And it does it directly from your microphone, from your iPhone, or from your AirPods, depending on whatever you want to use. So give that a try if you have that option. Now the video scrubber has something you should know about in the Photos app that's recently been updated. So here's a video I took when on vacation, and you'll see here with the photo or video scrubber, if I bring my finger up, you'll actually feel haptic feedback with a little intense here. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and it slows down how you scroll. So as you see, I can go frame by frame, just dragging slowly as I bring my finger up. If I want to speed up, bring it down a little bit, and it goes a little bit faster. You can actually feel this with haptic feedback. So again, bring it down, scroll fast, bring it up again, you can scroll slowly, but it again gives you haptic feedback to let you know you're in those different modes. Now the action button we've had for a while as well, and it's something else I would recommend customizing. It can do multiple functions, so you have the option to maybe use it as a flashlight like I have it, or change it to something else. So again, if we go back, go to our action button. Within the action button, you can change this to a few different things, and one I would recommend is either visual intelligence, or scroll over to where we have controls, and you can choose a control from your control center. So whether it's that app shortcuts one I showed you earlier, ambient music, you could use it for something such as Siri, or even customize it for ChatGPT or Gemini. So you have the option to use it for whatever you'd like, whether it's Instagram, maybe some connected accessories, or even your car key app or something like that. So again, we can use it for the remote. Maybe we want to use it for our Apple TV remote. It brings us right in. So this is a great option if you want to customize it. You can get the most out of it. If not, you can turn it off entirely, use it for silent mode, or use it for the flashlight. Now, if we go into settings, I wanted to show you how I customize my display. If we go under display and brightness, the first thing we can do if we scroll down is turn on or off True Tone. Now, True Tone may be something you appreciate, but what it does is try to make the overall whites on the display more similar to paper white. I don't want this as I use it for video often, and I want accurate colors. So if maybe you're editing photos or video, you may want to consider turning that off. The same is true with night shift. While it's helpful at night, maybe to reduce the overall blue light on your display, it's not great for when you're editing photos and video. So I turn it off altogether, or you can schedule for when it will actually enable. So just keep that in mind if you want to edit. However, one thing they've added with iPhone 17 models has to do with PWM, or the way the phone displays brightness. So what it does is typically flicker the display faster or slower based on the brightness. The higher the brightness, the faster it's flickering, the lower the slower, and that can bother your eyes even though you can't see it. So it can cause eye strain, causes some people like myself to feel nauseated, or it can even just give you headaches. There's a way to disable this in iPhone 17 models. Go under Accessibility, go to Display and Text Size, scroll to the bottom, and you have the option for Display Pulse Smoothing. Enable that, and it should really ease your eyes. It smooths everything out, makes it a little bit easier to see, and works great as well as filming the phone when it's in bright sunlight. So it will get rid of some of the scrolling you would typically see if it's very bright outside. So that's something I would recommend enabling if you haven't already. Another thing I would recommend doing is taking some time to customize your home screen. You'll see I have my icons laid out in sort of a U shape with a widget at the top from Mercury Weather. If we press and hold on one of the icons, we can just move it around like we always could, but we can drop it wherever we'd like. It's no longer in order like it was for many years. We can also customize the way the icons look altogether. Tap the edit icon in the upper left, tap Customize, and you'll see we have some options at the bottom. We have default like we've had for many years with our light mode icons. We've got our dark mode icons, but we also have clear and tinted. If we go under clear, we have the option for light or dark mode clear icons, as well as the background we can lighten or darken based on this little sun here. So I typically leave it a little bit lighter, and then we also have tinted. If you go under tinted, we can change it to whatever color we'd like, and then change the overall saturation. However, we have a new option here with a little icon for a case. If you have an official Apple case, tap on that icon, and then maybe place a case on your phone. So this is one of Apple's official cases here, silicon cases or silicone cases. It recognizes it, we'll swipe up, and you'll see the icons are now tinted to match. We can do the same with a different case as well. So let's take this one off. Then we'll switch maybe to a tech woven case. So again, it works with tech woven or silicone. We'll place this on. You'll see it's on. It recognizes it. As long as it recognizes it, swipe up, and now everything matches again. So you can customize it based on that. If you change your case a lot, change your wallpaper, whatever works best for you. But I typically use the dark mode icons. You can also make your icons larger without icon labels as well. Another thing you'll want to customize is your lock screen. If we go to the lock screen, you'll notice that my clock is larger, and I also have widgets at the bottom. If we press and hold on the lock screen anywhere when we're adding a wallpaper, or we just tap customize, we can then change this. So you'll see with this clock, if I tap on it, the first clock allows you to customize the overall size. So again, if we go here, go back to the first one, or second one, we can go in. We can't customize the size on the second one, but we can on the first one, and then we can change it to whatever we'd like. It will even place itself behind objects if it senses those. Then in future updates with iOS 26.2, we can even change the opacity of liquid glass. And again, this carries across the liquid glass I'll talk about in just a moment throughout the entire OS. We also have our widgets at the bottom. I'm currently using one for weather and then an app called Lumi that I paid for, and it tells me when sunset is, or it will tell you when golden hour is, one of the best times to take photos or video. So you can customize that and just drag it up or bring it down. So whatever works best for you. Once you've got it where you'd like, set it like that, and you're good to go. Now, if you don't like liquid glass throughout the OS, you'll see here where we have this glass look between everything that scrolls by. You'll see that here on the music app. You'll see this in many other apps. We can now change this within settings. If we go into our settings, go under display and brightness, you'll see an option for liquid glass. Go into that and you can change it to tinted, and then it gets rid of some of that. If this isn't enough, you can even disable it a little bit further if you don't like it. For example, go into settings, go under accessibility, then within display and text size, go to reduce transparency, and then if we go home, you'll see that there's no transparency or translucency. It completely changes altogether and pretty much gets rid of liquid glass throughout. So again, no matter whether we're in light mode or dark mode, you'll see there is no translucency, and it gets rid of that look altogether if you don't like it. You can even increase the contrast of different icons and outlines. So again, if we go into settings under accessibility, we can show borders and increase the contrast. Now it will highlight everything. Everything will be more contrasty, and you can even see outlines around different things within music, or again within podcasts or whatever you're looking at. So I would recommend trying this out, customizing it however it works best for you, and leave it if you want liquid glass or you don't like it. Change it to whatever works best. And I actually like it with liquid glass, but if you don't, change it for whatever works best for you. Now, if you just picked up your iPhone and you're a little bit concerned about battery, there's a few settings I would recommend. Go into your settings, go to battery life, and of course, if we scroll down, you'll see we have a few new options here. We have charging. That's the first thing I would go in. Now, I typically leave it at 100%, but leave optimized battery charging on. Typically, I'll charge this at night, and then it will be at 100% by the time I wake up, as it takes about 14 days to learn your sleep patterns, or when it actually goes to sleep and charges, and then it will actually adjust based on that time. So you'll see I'll leave it at 100, but you can customize this for whatever works best for you. However, recent tests have shown that this doesn't seem to make a huge difference, so I typically just leave it in optimized battery charging. Another thing I would recommend, depending on how much power you use throughout the day, is the new power mode option. Within power mode, we have the option for adaptive power. Adaptive power will adjust the overall power usage throughout the day. However, I have noticed that from time to time, it makes things feel a little bit laggy when you start off. For example, if you go into an app and scroll home, the first time it may feel a little laggy, then it picks back up. If you're having this issue, turn it off, but if you leave it on, you'll get the most power out of your phone. I would not recommend low power mode unless you're having additional issues and you need to get home where you can charge. That's generally what it's designed for. Basically, when it gets down to 20%, then it will enable low power mode to get you to the charger where you can bump that back up. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it, as it disables features, slows down your phone, and just makes it a worse experience overall. If you play a lot of games, such as maybe Minecraft or something else, we'll go into it here, let it load. There's something you should try out if you haven't already. In the upper right, pull down while you're in a game, and you'll see at the top it says Game Overlay. Go into your Game Overlay and you have options for your friends, and you also have some settings. Go into your settings and you'll see things such as controller support, if it has one connected, and you can turn on or off game mode. Game mode can actually increase the overall performance, keep frame rates up, and you can even play music in the background as well. So these are things I would recommend if you play a lot of games, and then you'll see other things such as events, as well as different things that are related to the game specifically. So those are great if you're playing Minecraft, Call of Duty Mobile, or something else. One other thing I wanted to mention is the overall device care itself. The new phones are now aluminum or aluminium again, and they're anodized, which is generally a tough coating, but some people have been seeing it wear off or just having issues with scratches. So I wanted to caution you with maybe setting this on a stone surface or maybe a metal surface. But in my experience, it's fairly tough overall. Initially, Apple did see material transfer between maybe their MagSafe docks and things they had in their stores, such as this, to the iPhone. I can scratch it like this, and it doesn't wear off. So it's more tough than you've heard online, and it also can just wipe right off for the most part. But it's not perfect and can scratch. For example, in the upper left here, you'll see next to my camera, just from setting it down regularly, we have a little bit of wear around the camera. However, this is not unusual, and I've seen this on many of my phones throughout the years. So just keep in mind that the overall sapphire lens won't scratch as easy, but parts of the material might. But if you keep it in a case such as tech woven or something else, it generally will keep that safe. But I would recommend removing the case every so often to clean it. In addition to that, if you do drop your phone, it is a little bit more easy to dent. So because this isn't titanium, it's not as hard, it's not as durable, but it is generally strong overall. In addition to this, some people have said they've seen discoloring, specifically on the orange iPhone. However, if you take a look at Apple's website where it says cleaning your iPhone, is it okay to use a disinfectant on my phone? It says what to use right here. So I'll link this in the description below where it says make sure you use 70% isopropyl alcohol wipes or 70% ethyl alcohol wipe or Clorox disinfecting wipes. You may gently wipe the exterior surface of your iPhone. Do not use products containing bleach or hydrogen peroxide, and avoid getting moisture in openings, and don't submerge your iPhone in any cleaning agents. And then it says after disinfecting, wipe it with a slightly damp, with water, lint-free cloth. So just keep that in mind. And I've seen some people claim that just wiping your phone gently will remove the anodized coating. And that's just not the case. It's much more durable than you would expect, but again, just don't place it on abrasive surfaces and take care of it. But let me know your experience in the comments below. Hopefully some of these tips helped you out, and maybe you didn't know some of them. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.